welcome to the Writers Corner live show. Here on the Writers Corner live show, we connect authors from around the world to each other and to their readers. On the show, you will meet both seasoned as well as new and aspiring authors from around the globe. And our featured author for this week is Emlyn Brown. His book is entitled The Mystery Runs Deep and was a quest to uncover one of the greatest naval mysteries involving the Waratah. So don't go away. We will be right back. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Brijetti Limbanda. I'm a live video camera confidence coach. I host and produce live video shows that helps brands, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and of course, authors share their stories. I'm also a responsible social media advocate, and on this show, we bring you the backstories of authors and inspiring authors. And my co-host is none other than the amazing Mary Elizabeth Jackson. She's the award-winning author of the children's Poolicious book series. She's working on another book, which you see behind her. It's
Whoop,
about to be released soon.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I know the camera is like backwards, like your reflection. So you're like, you think you're going to the right side or the left side, but you're really, it's really funny. So anyways, but yes, I just picked it up this morning. It's the cover of the new book and it's called Poolicious, Oh, the Wonder of Me. And I'm so excited. January 28th, we're going to do our launch on Facebook. So, I'll be giving more details as we come closer. And I'm so excited. And it's like ages 4 to 7. And it's, it's all about the silliness and quirkiness of kids and helping them to know that they're okay, that's okay, that, I have one ear bigger than the other, and maybe my teeth don't line up, and my eyebrows are crazy, my hair doesn't do what I want it to.
And it's all okay.
That's all okay. Yeah, any shape, form that a child is in is okay, and they really do have to start young, learning to be okay with who they are and where they are, whether they have abilities, disabilities. It doesn't matter. They have to accept who they are in whatever shape or form that they're in, and that's important because that really feeds into their self-confidence as they grow and become, young, older kids and teenagers and adults, and they have power within them.
Absolutely. And so our guest for today is Emlyn Brown.
Mm-hmm.
After more than a century, the disappearance of the steamship Waratah remained the greatest sea mystery of modern times. And apart from the period immediately following its disappearance, little effort was expended in finding its final resting place. Very, very strange story. And add to that the fact that it disappeared in a storm of frightening proportions, and it may have seemed like a hopeless task even going out of it. And so in the beginning, with no experience in the field, Emlyn set about climbing this nautical mountain one step at a time. Talk about biting the elephant one or eating the elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah.
And he was able to, I know, right. And so he was able to slowly build this dossier on the Waratah and everything to do with her. And his unrelenting course attracted the attention of both famous authors, general sponsors, and even, he says, the odd self-seeking imposter. Wow. And so the book takes you through each of the expeditions mounted to find the Waratah. And initially it was a low-tech attempt with what they had at hand, and eventually they were able to employ the best technology they had to offer in trying to uncover this mystery. His brother Kendall, who also a writer and video producer, joined him on a number of these expeditions to chronicle events as they unfolded. And I know his brother also helped him to edit his book, and he's currently working on a new one. But let's invite Emlyn onto the show, and we can meet him, and he can tell us more about the book and his upcoming book as well. Shall we invite him onto the show?
Very exciting. Yes, I love these mystery things and finding things in the past. It's so exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely. Let's invite him on.
Yes.
Emlyn, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much. Great pleasure.
Hey, where do y'all live? Because he's in South Africa also, correct?
Yes, he is.
So how far are
I'm
you?
in Greenpoint, Cape Town.
Okay. How
So
far is that?
we're about 15 minutes apart from each other. So
Oh,
it's
fun.
it's really close by.
That's awesome. So
Correct.
cool. Yes, a native, right?
Absolutely. It's fantastic to have some we seldom have authors from South Africa. But
I don't
it's
know. I
great.
don't know
We
why.
I don't know why. I have no idea why.
I know we need to have some more on, and it's wonderful though because I think it's so important for us to support local authors where wherever you're living, you need to support local authors because they're working very hard and they're trying to get their work out there and they love and believe in what they're doing, and everybody has to have support to get on their journey.
Correct. Very much so.
So, Emlyn, this was a monumentous task that you embarked on. What was it about the Waratah that made you want to delve into this and find the secret behind what happened to it?
I had read a book by Geoffrey Jenkins, a South African author, called Send of the Sea. And I read that book when I was in the South African Navy, and I was deeply inspired, and I thought it would make a great film. But I knew very little about the technical nature of searching for shipwrecks, although I became a diver later on in years. But it was really the discovery of the Titanic and the technicalities that went back in 1982, I think it was, when Bob Ballard discovered the Titanic, the robot cameras. And also, prior to that, the salvage of the HMS Edinburgh, when they got the gold off the ship from of the HMS Edinburgh in the Barents Sea. So that was all very technical. So it was really a combination of this mystery ship that disappeared after leaving Durban with 211 that inspired me to go and search for the ship. I still didn't know how I was going to do it. I just had to learn. I bought books and I went to the library. I used to go to Rondebosch Library and look out. And the only books that were available were from the United States, Pieces of Eight, all those wonderful Mel Fisher, with all the
Mhm.
shipwrecks of Florida.
Yeah, my mom,
They were great inspirations.
my mom knows him, so she was going
Oh,
to.
Mel.
Yeah, she was going to work for him for a while when I was a kid. We were going to go live on the
Oh,
ship.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
You know,
And
I think
and and hmm.
I think this is so totally inspirational because, sometimes we look at a task and we think, this is too monumentous. No one else had done it. Um, and, it's too much for me. But you didn't let that hold you back. You'd never done something
No,
like this before, but you had
no.
this will or yearning to want to do something different.
Well, it's strange because I had very supportive parents and brothers, you see. So it's very important to have the support. and encouragement of people to feed your dream, because it can be a very lonely road. And they were always very inspirational in helping me.
That's
My
wonderful.
father never lived, and my parents never lived to see the launch of the book. So my book is really honoring those people that inspired me to the books that I read then. I never for one moment thought that I'd end up writing my own book. And I actually did.
That's awesome.
So that, and that book feeds into the readership and nourishes other people that want to do the same thing.
Right, absolutely. How old were you
Perhaps
when
just
you?
as 18 years old.
You were
Wow.
18 years
When I
old.
was in the Navy and I read that story.
And so when did you
I
embark
was 18 years
on?
old. I spent the first search. Well, of course, it was funding. Funding's always such a problem. And I approached about 17 people in South Africa, 17, 18 companies, and they weren't really interested. And then we had a television program called Sundowner many years ago, and it was hosted by Dorian Berry. And on the show appeared American author Clive Cussler, who had written the book Raise the Titanic. And he was in South Africa to do a talk at University of Cape Town Music School. And when my late mom said there was this author coming down to Cape Town, I reckoned that there would be only two places someone like him would stay, and that would either be the Mount Nelson Hotel or the President Hotel in Sea Point. So I phoned the Mount Nelson Hotel, and they said, yes, he's arriving at 2:00. And I said, well, ask him to phone me, please. And he did. And that was a very long-term relationship. Was a very long-term relationship.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You need to write about that. You need to write about that someday.
I have.
Okay.
Well, I have. Well, he's written many books, and a couple of the books I've appeared in his books. I'm a character.
Oh, fun.
In one of his books, and Captain Emlyn Brown. And then I started the Numa organization, which of course is a non-profit foundation in his books. I started the Numa Foundation in South Africa. So the Waratah was under the umbrella of the Numa Foundation in South Africa.
Wow.
And but it's been disbanded now. And we've all moved on. And I had funding from the UK as well. I mean, these are very expensive operations. And I reached the dream of going down in a submarine, but unfortunately it wasn't the shipwreck. We don't know where she is. She's disappeared for good. And nobody knows where she is.
Wow.
That is amazing. So Emlyn, you gathered so much information over a period of how many years did it span, and how did you sift through all that bits of information to decide what had to go into the book and what to leave out? I mean, that must have been quite a task on its own.
Well, it always is. I had to decide that the book would be 70% me and 30% Waratah, and that's the formula that I kept to. Because you could get very weighed down in historical detail, which doesn't really take you anywhere. It's all 1909 this and 1909 that, and Mrs. What's-Name said this, Mrs. What's-Name. But the story is really about me, my search. How did you do this? What happened on that expedition? And I think that draws you right into the book. So I think there was a great balance between the 30-70 mix. You can't tell the story. I mean, you can't tell the story of the Titanic without knowing what happened.
Right.
Or about its history. You can't. And I thought that also expeditions down to shipwrecks are very exciting. They're very colorful. There's divers, there's underwater, there's submarines. So, I mean, from a picture point of view, I've been shooting film That's when we started with film, and then we ended up with little sticks in different formats. I've been through them all, and so I had to. I mean, I've been shooting since 1982. You see, so I had to put all in my library of film, and I had to say, fine, you are allocating X amount of pictures per expedition. And that's what I did. I scanned the best that I had, and I was pretty ruthless in what I wanted to do. And whatever pictures I chose had to balance the story and had to help carry the story, because pictures do say 1,000 words as well. And I think I got the mix right.
That's awesome.
Everybody has, said it. And I oversaw the production of the book as well, because I'm technically minded that way. And I'm very happy with the way things have come out. I wish I had a lot more sales, but I think, one of the banes of self-publishing, because I had 3 publishers turned it down, and I wasn't prepared to let a publisher tell me my story wasn't any good. How many publishers haven't been wrong with stories before? I wasn't. The only problem with self-publishing is that you need good marketing muscle in order to get the numbers and the book sales.
Right.
But I've just decided I have a lifetime in which to do it, so I'm happy with what I've done.
That's wonderful. Has there been a documentary done on the whole, your whole journey?
Yes.
Okay.
A series of documentaries. In fact, there is a rescreening of a documentary. I think it comes this week on SABC 3. There is a rescreening. Oh yes, no, there have been lots. I mean, I've got my own on YouTube as well.
Oh, wonderful!
Which takes you through the whole lot.
Well, we want to let people know about that. We want to let people know about that.
You can see all of them. See all of them. Yeah.
Oh, how exciting!
It is, but ships and the sea have always been part of my interests, and I tend to lean more towards that way. There is another subject that I'm toying with, that I may put pen to paper on.
Okay, can you give us a little hint?
Well, I'll tell you about my new book. My new book is called The Middle Watch. It is based on a great tragedy in the South African Navy, when there was a naval exercise off Cape Point. And due to an error that happened on in the operations room, the ship was turned the wrong way. And unfortunately, the tanker that it was screening collided with the ship and sent it to the bottom within 45 minutes.
Oh, my.
It was a great, great tragedy in the South African Navy. It's a very sensitive story.
Wow.
Sorry?
I said, wow. Did they get it was a tragedy, so did they get everybody off?
No.
Okay.
No, there were chief petty officers trapped in the mess where the ship collided, and they went down. They were trapped. They went down with the ship. My story takes you into the horror inside the ship and tells you what went wrong, why it all fell to pieces between the principal warfare officer and the officer of the watch, 2 very important people on board a warship. And I was inspired to write this because not only was it a local story, and I had access to all the documents and the court cases which I researched at the University of Cape Town, which I'm still researching. But there have been a spate of naval accidents, especially in the United States of America. The USS Fitzgerald were disastrous accidents, submarines, nuclear-powered submarines surfacing under fishing boats in the South Pacific, and all due to incompetence, lack of training. We've had a Norwegian warship that ignored all the signs of a tanker approaching it, and the tanker collided with it and rolled the ship over. That's sinking of a warship out at sea.
Wow,
It's my introduction covers about 8 different naval accidents out at sea from 2017. They are terribly
Oh my
serious. You
goodness.
wouldn't think.
Wow,
You
even
wouldn't think
today,
heavy accidents.
yeah, today you would think the
Yes, very
technology is
much
better.
so.
So this needs to go into film. This needs to be a movie.
It should be.
Yes,
It should
absolutely.
be.
Okay,
It
we're
should
starting a
be.
campaign. We're starting a campaign right now. Anybody out there who knows somebody
Yeah.
that knows somebody that would like to pick this project up, because this is very informative,
Yeah.
and people love true life stories. I mean, I think that draws people.
They are.
I mean, I know I love to see true life stories, so I know other people do.
But I mean, we're
Well, the
talking about
USS
modern day stuff. This is not old stuff. This is
Yeah,
from
No, this
2017.
is modern day stuff.
Wow.
that's
That's
crazy.
right. That's right. But what my book does is, my incident happened 39 years before these incidences. And what my book demonstrates is the similarities of these accidents are still happening to this very day.
Right.
And that is lack of training, unqualified people behind a warship, behind the steering wheel, let's call it, of a warship in a busy shipping lane. Shouldn't happen while the commander is asleep in his cabin. These things should never happen on board a warship, especially on a warship which has all the latest navigation that you can think of. But they do. And there are great tragedies. The USS McCain and the USS Fitzgerald were terrible tragedies.
It's
15
almost,
young people that were taken in instance.
That's terrible.
you can't believe that in this day and age we still have stuff such as human error. Well, I don't know
Yes.
if they're really human error or just pure negligence.
Right.
Well, it's
Right.
sometimes a combination of both, but human error most certainly. On a warship, on a naval exercise or maneuvering a warship, if you take your eyes, or any ship for that matter, if you take the eyes off the ball, you can run a ship aground and crash into somebody, or somebody can crash into you. It's actually as easy as that. And I've been out to sea on many ships, and I've studied coastal navigation and watched radar screens. If you make a mistake, you're on the rocks. So navigation and having an officer of the watch that is qualified, to make orders and receive orders is more important than we actually give credit for.
Oh, it's
I mean, these are massive machinery. It's I mean, if you talk about a naval ship, you're talking about millions of dollars of equipment here. It's not
Yes.
something that you go and buy at the next door store.
No.
You're talking about big money here, and one would hope that when you put someone in charge of this level of equipment, that that there's some level of respect for it, and also, the necessary qualification to take care of it and be responsible for people's lives. You can't take your eye off the ball. I mean, it's like flying a plane.
Or
You
driving.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even driving. I mean, I know we have a law here in the last year that has come about that, it's a hands-free law. If you're on your phone, $200, if you get caught. So, they're really trying to make those impressions to get off the phone, focus completely on what you're doing. And how many times do we all drive? And it's like you're distracted for a split second, and in an instant, you can see how, boom, something could happen. And things do happen like that. They catch us off guard.
Sure.
Even when we're paying really good attention, that can happen.
It literally just it takes a split second of distraction.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a big distraction. It's not like you need to watch a movie while you're driving or steering a ship or flying a plane. It can literally just be looking down at your phone or
Yes.
just it's just means that for a split second you're not focused the way you need to be.
Right.
Well, to give you a little example, in the case of the Norwegian frigate, these ships cost billions of dollars to make. Yeah, we don't talk in millions now. We're talking billions of
Wow.
dollars to build these ships. And are we still on air?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. My things on my screen just anyway. I'll carry on. He thought he was looking. The officers on the ship's bridge believed that they were looking at the quayside all lit up. In fact, what they were looking at was a tanker with all the lights on the front deck coming towards
Oh
them.
my gosh. Ouch. That
Holy
is
cow.
scary.
That's the error you can make.
Wow.
That's error, and he was warned repeatedly. You know,
Mm, it's
Oh
awful.
my goodness.
Well,
You cannot.
The Titanic was warned too, weren't they? And they didn't listen. And you know, human error is awful. I mean, just a terrible. I mean, look at the terror attacks and things that have happened, and there have been warnings, and they haven't heeded the warnings, and then looked at the disasters that have happened. So, you know, it's so sad. And he's completely right. There needs to be better training, and not just there, but in so many different avenues, so many different businesses and professions in the world. There needs to be better training.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think Emlyn's lost the signal.
Yes.
Um, but so you can find Emlyn's book on the website. His website is called The Mystery Runs Deep.
Hmm.
Um, that is his website, and that's the name of the book. So go and have a look at The Mystery Runs Deep. He's also got a Facebook page called The Mystery Runs Deep. So you can connect with Emlyn on his Facebook page, The Mystery Runs Deep, story about the Waratah and his quest to find it. And I think, I mean, I'm so excited about his new book.
I know. I can't wait because it's so relevant. Like, I mean, it's happening like just in our recent past. So it's amazing. I mean, I can't wait to read it. And I hope that somebody will pick up this story and take it and run with it and make it into a film, because this is stuff that, you know, we need to know about. The public needs to know about and to see and support things getting better in that, you know, that area of the world of ships and sailing and just all that enterprise. We need, you know, they need support too, going, hey, okay, we're we're not gonna stand for this anymore. We don't want this to happen. I mean, the families that are mourning the loss of their family members, I mean, that's terrible. And so you know, we'll support him, and anybody out there listening. And I know we want to say hi to Lillian. She kind of popped in and said hi a little bit ago, and we're glad
She
she liked
did.
she did, and we're glad she liked the conversation. And I know I'm going to tell my stepfather to watch, because he was in the military and is a big fan of ships, and I think he'll be a fan of Emlyn's. So I'm glad he got to come on today. I'm sorry we lost him. But you know, it is the nature of things that happen sometimes. But you know, we want everybody to support him and buy his book and tell somebody to make a film.
Absolutely. I think Emma's trying to connect again. So let's see if you appear. So again, if you were watching the show, we were talking about Emlyn's book, The Mystery Runs Deep, about the Waratah, and he's busy working on his second book called The SAS President Kruger, another naval ship that ran aground off Cape Point in 1982. And I think Emlyn's here to just before we close off. Emlyn has been able to join us again, and there we are.
sorry about that. I had no idea what happened.
No worries, no worries.
Okay.
Emlyn, I was saying people can connect with you on Facebook, um, and your book. They
Yes,
can also reach you on, via the website. Um,
correct.
any final words in closing?
Well, the President Kruger sunk in 3,000 meters of water, so it's a bit of a nightmare trying to get down there. It's as deep as the Titanic. So I'm taking on a new way of exploring a shipwreck if I cannot get the funds to do these things. They're very expensive operations. So I'm talking to somebody in San Diego, where we're going to propose to build a model of the actual shipwreck as to what the shipwreck would look like now on the seabed.
Yeah, very
so
cool.
And then what we do is we build a model, and then we use macro photography, and we image the shipwreck the way it looks, and we use special effects and that sort of thing. So I can take you down to the shipwreck and show you what it looks, what the warship looks like now. You know, instead of raising all millions of South African rands to go down to the ship in real life. So it's another way of compensating, but making it as realistic as possible, because these images help to move your book and the narrative along.
Right, right. And when you get it done, you need to let us know so we can put it on the show. We can air it. Because I
Sure.
would love to. I'd love to see it. I'm sure Brigetti would too.
Sounds very exciting. Very, very interesting.
Yes. I think these type of subjects normally are. I find very few people find no interest in this sort of thing. So I try to make my book as colorful, as interesting as possible, even in terms of the Waratah. The picture that you see on my Facebook site is actually a model of the ship, which was turned over and then filled in with a background of high waves, and then given it to an artist to make it look realistic. So I tried to breathe a lot of realism into my narrative. You don't just get blank pages. You get images that complement the story and help carry it along. So I draw you into my book. And I hope I've got the balance right.
I think you did perfectly well, and we look forward to your new book. We're out of time, so thank you very much to everyone who's joined us today. Emlyn, thank you for being such a great guest. We look forward to your book, and
thank you.
we want to wish you all a great week ahead. We'll see you back next week, same time, same place. From me, Brigetti in Cape Town, it's goodbye for now.
From Nashville, Tennessee, it's Mary, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.